Suppose you guys already know each other.
Oh, nice to meet you,
Who the fuck is this guy?
Mr. Joseph.
What's that?
Yeah,
What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Well, thanks for joining me. Should I'm just gonna dive right into it if that's okay. Won't
yeah.
take long.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations on Bosco. I thought it was great. I watched it the other day, and yeah, Aubrey loved your performance, and Nick, it was great. I understand you put together the script sort of based off of Bosco, his book, right? Is that what I gathered?
Yeah, it's adapted from his book Chasing Freedom. But it was, when adapting a book, it's always like it's 400 pages, and it was like pretty well written, but it's like covers his whole life, and the film is about a very small period, a very small, period of his life with a little bit of color, bringing in, with Tyrese and Vivica. But it's always a challenge to, capture somebody who like I've grown to love soul into something that is very short, because I wanted to do the whole book, but we don't have Scorsese budgets yet. So it's very hard to, do a 5 hour epic. Um, but maybe one day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it kicks off, back in 85 and then, jumps to, I think it's a very, the movie captures a really, obviously pivotal time, and
You know,
it's very, very gripping from start to finish. And yeah, with the flashbacks those are great too. And was, uh, was Quante Adams, was he on set with you during this process? Like, I was curious how the collaboration, how that went.
He was there every single day. That made my job a lot easier. Definitely for the most part.
Yeah,
Because it's just something beautiful about the fact that you know me and Nick and Bosco at this point, we're brothers. You know what I mean? We really got enough time to like actually build a bond. You know what I'm saying? So by the time we set action on the first day, I felt like I was not necessarily doing a job. I felt like I was doing something that I would have done for free. Um, and it was really just to tell my brother's story because I know he was sitting behind a monitor and watching it go down. You know what I'm saying? And the depth in that is insane. You know what I'm saying? Because this person really lived the story that we're trying to tell. So you want to do everything in your power to make it feel as real as possible. But also do him justice. You know what I mean? Like serve him right. And now I'm just excited that the world is gonna finally know who this man is and, you know, understand his journey and the fact that the journey is still going.
for sure.
yeah.
And those,
Building off what Aubrey said,
yeah, go ahead.
he was, even during our, development process, he was involved, even while he was still in prison. Aubrey and I were talking to him at, 15 minutes at a time when he was able to call us,
Yeah.
and we were honing in on the script, and they were honing in on, the character and what it was. And also just, we were just kind of, sometimes we wouldn't even talk about the script. We would just talk about life and really, like, so when he got out before we shot, which was just like such a serendipitous occasion, we already had years of, like of a relationship, so when he got on set and we were there, it was just a very collaborative effort. And it's like we, I think all three of us built so much trust, which
Right.
was very, which is pivotal to, telling this man's story, who's it's not a guy who's been dead for 100 years like Napoleon. It's a guy who's right here, who we want, who we love, and we want to, really, benefit from his story being told.
Yeah. Well, I think it really shows, and the voiceover narrations, were those just, they almost felt like they were just pulled right from his book. Is or were they sort of kind of adapted? Or I was curious
It
if,
was, it was about I'd say about 50-50.
Mhm.
Like it's like I tried to, when I, adapting the book, I tried to like take the essence, I'm saying, the spirit of it, the emotional, the emotion of the whole book and put it into there. And I think I captured his voice pretty well. In this there's a lot of poetry in it. There's a lot of poetry in him. And I personally love poetic stuff. And like, if voiceover should, for me, if you're going to use them, it shouldn't just be telling you what it's going to do. It should be enriching and externalizing the internal life of this character.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say next about how like they really play a very important role in heightening the movie for sure. Those kinds of expository narrations in other movies kind of drive you nuts. You're like, dude, I know this is happening. You don't need
yeah. I see it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, when I was watching, I was writing some of them down. Like when he's like, I'm losing my, or like, oh God, what was it? Like, I'm losing my SHIT, and just like little, like, VOs like that, I think really heightened really made you feel like you were right there inside his head. He's looking in the mirror and stuff. So yeah.
I think that really speaks to Nick, man, like, and his style, and like his, we talk about this all the time because we've done a couple more projects together. But he has such a specific, like, cinematic style in the way that he likes to tell story that continues to blow me away, bro. Like, he has a voice that I can't wait for people to see, in film. You know what I mean? And it's all over this film, but I can't wait to see what he does in the future. You know what I mean? A lot of it is gonna be with me. I'll make sure that, but I can't wait to see what he does, period. Because it's, film is precious, you know what I'm saying? And he treats, any project that he's working on with like that care, you know what I'm saying? Like it's precious. So yeah, I had to give him a nod because to me the voiceovers, it does heighten the movie, you know what I mean? And it just fits in line in the type of films that Nick's trying to make. So
did I hear you say you're teaming up for another project together, the two of you guys, or something in the past?
Are we, Nick? I don't know.
Yeah, we have a couple things in the works. I wrote something with Aubrey that he directed that's going to come out this year, a short. And we also have a TV show that we wrote together and are developing right now. So he's my brother. We've been working together now. Like, this has been a long process. It's been about 4 years, and we talk every day. He's like one of my closest friends, and easily my closest collaborator. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got an album coming out, very like in April that he's been releasing, and I did some art direction and stuff for it. And like, we talk about it. We connected over music too, since I was a musician too first. Before I became a director, so we have a lot of stuff in the work. We're intertwined now.
Yeah,
there's no getting out of this shit.
Yeah, I was going to mention, the soundtrack, the music that accompanies this movie, I thought was great.
Thanks. It's music is so important to us, and like, I come from music. I started by in film by like making music for film and composing and having my music and film. So it's like, it's very hard to separate me from that. The rhythm of it. Like, film is all the arts together. It's theater, it's photography, it's music. It's writing. What I'm saying, poetry. So it's like, it's very hard to separate music from me and my filmmaking. I've tried. It's just impossible.
Well, I think that's a good way to be.
Yeah.
That's great. And Aubrey, so you have an album coming out in April, is that?
Yeah. I dropped my first album in 2020. And that was a journey that was super special. It definitely gave my fans a chance to really kind of understand where my head was at with the music and how serious I take it and take it as a craft. And obviously it's been 4 years since 2020. So yeah, I'm dropping an album this year, finally. spent a lot of time working on it. Nick knows. He was around during the process. You know, I spent so much time working on this album. Like he knows it's been like a week where I've been working on the same song for like 2 days, 3 days straight. You know what I mean? So, I just take this as a craft the same way that I treat acting. You know what I mean? And of course, with anything, me and Nick are just alike in a lot of ways. So any project that I do, I always look to him for advice or look to him to collaborate because I know that he understands me. We understand each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, so um, yeah, I feel like we kind of spoiled each other at that point. You know what I mean? It's gonna be kind of hard to work with a different actor or a different director when
Yeah.
it's kind of that unspoken synergy that we have there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, the album's great, man. I can't wait for people to hear it, and I'm lucky that Nick was able to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's great. I'll keep an eye out. And, also, in terms of looking ahead, I mean, I think you had a lot of fans with your Cloak and Dagger series, and I just wanted to ask, would you, do you see the Cloak character, having, possibly, like, would you entertain the idea of it, appearing in like a future Marvel movie, or anything like that? Do you see it having a future in this, Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah, of course, man. Like, you know, the how it ended was super tricky because Marvel was kind of handing over the reins, if you will, to Marvel Studios. So Marvel TV kind of just got deaded. But that had nothing to do with how great of a show it was and how dedicated our fan base was. Like they still bug me all the time about the show and of course ask me and Olivia like, please tell them to like it doesn't work like that. But can't
I,
just call Kevin
Yeah.
Feige on speed dial. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, of course I would entertain that. I feel like they're some of the most like unique characters in the Marvel universe, and there has to be another way to continue telling that story. You know what I mean? And you know,
yeah.
I'm sure
You
it'll
just
happen
played a
someday.
superhero.
Yeah, yeah,
You just
yeah.
played a superhero in Bosco.
Yeah, I always said it's funny. I've been saying for a minute that Bosco himself is like it's weird. Like I was coming off of Cloak and looking for that right next role. And it's so funny that I just ended up playing a superhero again because that's exactly who Bosco is. You know what I mean? Like he is a hero in a sense. You know what I mean? And was so determined to be a father for his daughter, um, to break that generational curse of the fact that his father wasn't in his life. So yeah, I guess all I play is heroes now. I guess that's my
It's your bag.
my typecast now. But
I
yeah, man,
think
of course I would do that.
I think that's a headline right there, going from one superhero to the next.
All right.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
Do you,
he's an amazing person.
yeah,
He really is a superhero. Like I agree when you say that, Aubrey. It's just like even like just from the aspect of escaping prison in the way he did under 24-hour surveillance in a maximum security prison in a solitary cell, but then just how he turned his life around is like a real life superhero. That's like what people should really attain to be, like like that's like those are the real people. That's what people don't need to like jump buildings. They need to like take hard looks at their life and really,
Right.
you know, jump off from that. Like that's like, figure out, what internally that they can draw from that's, in there. And I think
Right.
he's done it in his real life, which is just amazing how he's turned his life around.
yeah, for sure. Do you stay in touch, Aubrey, with Olivia Holt? Before I forget, I was just curious if.
Yeah, yeah, she's great. God, I feel like we just talked a minute ago. She reached out. That's my girl. You know what I mean? We're forever tied. Um, and I learned a lot from her. You know what I mean? So that's always gonna be my girl. And yeah,
And a second ago, Nikki mentioned, the prison, Bosco being in prison, and I wanted to ask, I grew up watching Thomas Jane movies, and here he is playing Hunt. I think his name was Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
a great performance.
oh yeah, it was great. And I was curious, Aubrey, you have some pretty intense scenes with him, to put it
Yeah.
mildly. And I was curious what it was like, working with him,
Yeah,
co-starring
man.
with him.
I was just talking about this in an interview earlier. Bro, his performance is crazy. Like the kind of villain voice that he kind of if you will, in captures, if that's a good word for that. That like voice that he was in, and just that like bag that he was in, was just like when he would say regular shit. I don't know if I can
That's
cuss or
fine.
anything.
You can. I don't know
Yeah,
why
when he would
you
say
can
like,
say it. I don't know why I spelled it out earlier.
for sure. He would say regular shit to me. I was almost like caught off guard because we were so locked in the entire time. Like I remember
Yeah.
we came to set and we were blocking a scene or something like that, and I had on like it was either like Nirvana or Tupac, like some type of vintage shirt like that or something. And just in the middle of the rehearsal, like before we started saying lines, he was like, "It's a tight shirt, man." I was like, I forgot we were human beings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good dude. It was great to work with him on set, and he just delivers a really, really good performance,
Yeah.
a very convincing performance to the point where I didn't want to talk to him on set. You know what I mean? Like we had, as if we had real life beef. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, he's definitely like a great antagonist to Key's protagonist. It's like because the antagonist almost has to be, you know, it can't he can't be a lesser person than the protagonist, because it's just too easy, right? And he really just brings this intensity that matches Aubrey's intensity, which was just like it would. I was like, shit, we have a movie, right? I was like, because it was like one of the first
Facts.
things that we shot, what I'm saying, was that scene where they're meeting. And I was like, I've been like thinking about this for like years already, and I was just like, when I saw him just like stroll into that cell, I was like, shit, man. Theo Rossi too behind him, man. Like that's
Yeah,
like a
man.
1-2 punch that like, that's somebody people that I wouldn't in real life wouldn't want to be like on the other side of.
Yeah, Theo, yeah, he's a great effort. He had some good scenes as well. And was it between Thomas Jane and Theo, like Nick, was is curious, getting these performances out of them, did that was that a long sort of, intense process, or maybe not? Or I was curious behind the scenes how it went,
Some
getting them
scene,
into, yeah.
yeah. Like Theo and I like became real good buddies through this. And it's like they have two different ways of working. It's like Thomas, wants to talk very shortly about stuff and like wants to feel it. If he has any questions, he'll ask, and Theo wants to talk about it. Theo wants to talk a lot about it. And like I love both ways of working. And it's like, yeah, you always really, they're just amazing actors. So it's like you just, give them the lines, you make sure that they, know who they are and where they are and why they are. And you kind of let them go. And then, you make adjustments as it goes on, what I'm saying? Like to try and have a little fun here, it's like we all kind of, like Theo, Aubrey, and I, we all became kind of like, like a little clique, what I'm saying? Like, we were just, like, how can we take this up? What I'm
Mhm.
saying? How can we make these intense moments feel real and feel like, it's, he has a lot of moments where he's questioning what he's doing, Theo, which is like, I think a very real, you know, I've talked to some prison guards, what I'm saying? It's a very real thing, because it's like you have to do your job, but also it's also not a great, you know, like some people are more conditioned to it than others. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And you have to separate it, and you have to make hard decisions. And it's like, and I think Theo really brought like a very, very a lot of depth to the Ramos
Yeah.
character.
Did any past movies, whether they're in the prison sort of subgenre or just any past filmmakers, maybe help, shape your vision for Bosco, Nick?
Yeah, it's very, I love the great, like the modern greats, Stanley Kubrick, has a very, psychological thing that goes on with a lot of his stuff, which like I kind of wanted to, infuse in this, and a little bit of like the Scorsese, world building, in some of these voiceover, it's like you can't separate Scorsese from voiceover. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to kind of just try and like get somewhere near there, like it's like something to attain to, it's like you have to attain for greatness so you can kind of go underneath, like if you, and so it's like I think, those two were like really, and Aronofsky too, because I just love, the psychological aspects of stuff of going inside people who are trying to do, great things, which is like exceptional things, which I think Hugh is trying to do by trying to get out of prison. It's a very exceptional thing. It's not like being the black swan, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like it's still the same thing, it's like doing something that normal people, don't have the, he cut through steel like this thick with a, a reciprocating saw blade. That's real.
Yeah.
Like, how much effort and determination, like it takes to do that. Like that's like something like, that I think like I took from like a lot of Aronofsky stuff, because like that's what, and it's just, being in prison like that, man, like in one cell this whole time, like that's gonna drive you crazy,
Yeah.
four walls closing in on you, it's like I wanted to capture that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I like how when he's cutting and you see his hand bleeding. I feel like movies don't
Yeah,
do that enough where it's just like the hand isn't bleeding. It's just like, dude, his hand would totally be bleeding.
Of course, yeah.
It all
yeah,
felt very realistic and grounded.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a determination, it's like, it captures a lot in that one shot, right? Seeing like how, like, because it doesn't stop bleeding,
Right.
like it just keeps,
Yeah.
it just keeps, you got to fight through the
He's
pain,
gone. Yeah,
you just
yeah.
keep going, and it's just kind of amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also wanted to ask, we're in award season right now. The Oscar nominations came out kind of recently. I was curious if there's a favorite film of yours that came out in the past year that you've been rooting for, or something that really spoke to you, or even like a TV show.
Let me think
It's a
about
tough
that.
question.
Hmm.
No, it is a tough question. I got to think. I watch so much stuff. I have to really think about what I've seen lately.
Hmm.
Um, like for TV wise, I think The Bear did a great job. I think, like The Bear and Beef, and Succession, that was just like, like those are, kind of three of my favorite shows, like
Yeah,
say
man.
what you want.
Beef and Succession for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like they're all comedies to me too. So
Hmm.
it's like, people say The Bear isn't a comedy, but it's a comedy to me. But Succession is also a comedy to me.
Right.
So it was like those are like the three, like like I watch a lot of TV, and
Yeah.
I just saw Poor Things, which was pretty good. Oppenheimer, I think, like really was, like talk about a musical movie,
Yeah.
right? There's
Oh, yeah.
music from, start to finish in that, there's a, that's like what, really captured like my attention with that one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What about anything, Aubrey? I know you mentioned Bear, Succession.
Yeah,
Or
that's the
Beef.
thing. I haven't seen The Bear. Nick talks to me about The Bear all the fucking time.
It's
Never gotten
just
a chance to watch it yet. Um, but no, me and my girl, we were on Beef and Succession most of last year. I think those were some of the best series. It's so funny with Succession. It's kind of like everybody in the cast is just playing their real selves in real life. Like I don't know if you notice any any moments of them in just like real life situations, and it's just like, nah, that's literally just a character, you know what I'm saying? But no, I think those shows are super well done. As far as the Oscars and stuff, I can't call it. I feel like Nolan did a fantastic job, of course, but like that's Christopher Nolan, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna happen every
Yeah.
time. I'm glad to see my guy Killian finally get, his shine as like a lead actor though. You know what I mean? Like I think it's been long overdue. I hope he wins.
And there's your icebreaker when you meet him, that you both played
Yeah.
real life, these iconic people on
Right,
the screen.
right.
Yeah. Okay, well, great. Well, I think that's all I had. I appreciate it. I'm sorry this went long, and I appreciate you
No, I
time to.
enjoyed talking to you, man.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
likewise. I could go all day, but yeah, Bosco is terrific. And yeah, is there anything, I mean, looking ahead, I know you
Thanks
kind
so
of
much.
mentioned the album. You guys are working on a couple things or worked on a couple things together. If there's anything else you'd like to share, I'd love to, in terms of future projects.
Just so we're,
What you got next?
developing a TV show. Well, we always have projects. I write a lot. I've written about 12 projects since I wrote Bosco,
Oh, nice.
because it's been such a long like I wrote it in 2018. So, we're always, it's like we both take our crafts very seriously. We always try to hone on it, like, and it's like that's like I think where we connect a lot.
For sure.
So a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, a lot of good stuff. TV
Cool.
show.
Do you have a
Yes.
title for it yet, or maybe you're not
I
allowed
don't know
to?
if we could give you
No.
that yet, man.
Um,
We can't give them that
yeah.
yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
I had to
Yeah,
ask. It's
man.
okay. I understand.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, man. Just the album coming up, which we're really excited about. Nick's heard it. He likes it.
It's ridiculous.
So
It's going to do
um,
amazing things.
Well, great. Well, yeah, I'll keep an eye and ear out. And in the meantime, congratulations on Bosco. I can't wait for everyone else to see it. And yeah.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
thanks so much,
I
man.
love talking to movie people about movies. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's like
Yeah,
the
me
best
too.
thing.
Yeah.
I know you got a great job. It's like,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah. And
No, yeah,
but
thanks.
yeah, I mean, great work. And yeah, it was very nice to meet both of you, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, keep in touch, man.
I
Yeah,
will.
nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Great to meet you.
All right.
Bye.